This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Police are continuing their efforts to clean up the capital's inner city communities.
And as Cleopatra Murphy tells us, residents of Fritz Lane and Sunlight Village are resting easier tonight after another eyesore was removed.
An abandoned home overrun by garbage and shrouded by trees joined the growing number of structures torn down through a police anti-crime initiative intended to restore a sense of peace to inner city communities. Assistant Superintendent of Police Ricardo Richardson says this particular location was known to harbor unsavory characters and was used to hide stolen goods, drugs, and firearms.
If you were to actually check this building, you would notice that there's a bunch of garbage and things like that in it, and it harbor home for rodents along with the criminals. And once we get rid of these places, then once the property has been cleared down, we started a new initiative to ensure that no one dump anything on it and to ensure that the property remain clean, so it wouldn't actually be a health hazard.
Residents had been calling for the removal of the abandoned structure at the corner of Fritz Lane and Sunlight Village for about 15 to 20 years. This is the sixth home tractors would have torn down in the Centerville area in recent months. Richardson says the initiative is receiving a positive response.
These old homes, they have stenches because young persons hanging there, they do a number of things in the house, and it's sanitary. Then you have persons throw dead dogs and, those kind of things. So it's a big relief. And then the people are more comfortable because they say, well, there's no one hanging in there. There's no place for them to hang and hide their drugs, their guns.
Resident Thomas Ferguson partnered with police in the exercise. Ferguson says he and other residents had been concerned about the property. They are pleased the situation has been addressed.
We grew up in this community and we decided that we're going to start making a difference in our community rather than always waiting on the government to do something. We are happy that we were able to assist in this manner.
Police plan to extend the cleanup to Mount Royal Avenue next, where several abandoned buildings are a priority. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
10 men and 2 juveniles have been remanded to the Department of Corrections after a fight at a popular Harbour Island night spot. The incident took place in the early morning hours of Easter Monday, where officers in charge of the Eleuthera district, Christopher Wright, says police met resistance when bringing the men into custody.
These men continue to act in disorderly behavior to the extent of taking one of the men from the officers whom they had already handcuffed and placed under arrest. Officers regrouped it, and as a result, we were able to arrest a total of 12 persons. 10 of these persons are adult males and 2 are 2 juveniles. They appeared before a magistrate court today in Harbour Island, all charged with charges ranging from causing public terror, causing harm, assaulting a police officer, and damage.
Now, according to Superintendent Wright, all of the men pleaded not guilty to the charges and were advised by the magistrate that they could apply for bail at the Supreme Court level. The Eleuthera Police Chief also noted that more people are being sought in relation to this matter.
There are a number of persons who are there who are a part of this altercation who left the island. I say to you, turn yourself in. We know you live there. You will be charged whenever we find you.
The Department of Civil Aviation has announced the temporary closure of the runway at Staniel Key, Exuma. The closure will allow for the immediate repair of sections of the runway by the Ministry of Works and Urban Development. The ministry is expected to complete the work within the shortest possible time. During the closure of the runway, an alternative access route into Staniel Key can be taken by flying into nearby Black Point and taking a 5-minute ferry to Staniel Key. The Department of Civil Aviation apologizes for any inconvenience caused as a result of this temporary closure. However, the department maintains that the safety of all users remains a paramount concern. The father of 18-year-old Ricardo Clark Jr., who was named in an all-points bulletin by police 2 days ago for the attempted murder of a woman on April 2nd, is tonight expressing concern about the teen's safety.
Now, Ricardo Clark Jr. said ever since the bulletin was issued, his son, who is paralyzed from the waist down, has been receiving threatening messages online. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean confirmed that the All Points Bulletin was discontinued after police conducted investigations and determined that the teen was not involved in the matter. The elder Clark noted that he also spoke with police regarding concerns for his son's safety, but the father said his son is still living in fear.
Some stuff online and how people doing some messages saying my son need to be hanged, my son need to go to jail, they judge and execute at the same time. The police right now, my son being paralyzed from November, my son name should be in their system because they should still be looking for the gunman that harms my son. And if they come in around my mom's place and riding around asking questions about my son, they supposed to be looking for mom with walking, but my son in a wheelchair. I'm concerned about my son's safety because it's so serious because things happen today, and when someone get a call and say, okay, this Ricardo, he live in Benton, let's pay him a visit, that's life or death, and that's my mom too, that plays a major role in my life. I couldn't sleep for 2 days.
Now, as the government looks to place the law enforcement officials in better positions to patrol the country's borders, 15 customs officers will now form the newly established Marine Unit. During his keynote address at the graduation on Friday afternoon held at the Defense Force Base at Coral Harbour, Minister of State for Finance, the Honorable Michael Halkitis, noted how this will go a long way in improving the Bahamas' capability to monitor those areas.
The Customs and Excise Department has, through its program implementation team, have been working to ensure that the Trade Sector Support Program moves forward and maintains momentum, which is demonstrated by today's graduation of Customs Marine officers who will be deployed in the Marine Unit to improve border control and marine enforcement. The Marine Unit will help to alleviate revenue leakage at the border and various ports of call and serve as a deterrent to smuggling activities.
Now, the 8-week program launched in February was a collaborative effort between the Customs and Excise Departments and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. It's expected to broaden the span and scale of customs operations. Also on hand for the graduation was Customs Comptroller Charles Turner, who explained how the newly established unit will work.
The newly established Marine Unit will be operational in New Providence and in Freeport, Grand Bahama. Significant resources are being allocated in this unit through the acquisition of 5 boats, logistics supplies, and communication equipment.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain. The central bank is projecting mild growth for the Bahamian economy due in part to an improving tourism sector and continuing investments in construction projects. The introduction of value-added tax boosted revenues. However, the fiscal deficit widened over the past 7 months due to higher expenditures. The bank said that the increase in spending did translate into an increase in asset acquisition through the purchasing of new Defense Force vessels. In other business news, American businessman Kenneth Fern will speak to representatives from the Chamber of Commerce organizations all over the Bahamas. Fern is the chairman of the National Association of Black Owners and the founder and managing partner of Integrated Capital, a private equity firm that has acquired more than $450 million in hospitality assets. The businessman will speak on April 15th and 16th at the Mealy Resort, Cable Beach. And in international business news, Panama-based Copa Airlines announced today that it will buy 65 Boeing 737 MAX 8 and MAX 9 jets in a deal worth $6.6 billion. Reuters is reporting Copa Airlines said in a statement it will use the airlines to replace existing airlines and support the carrier's plans for strategic growth. The airline said the deal announced in Panama during the Summit of the Americas is the largest commercial transaction between a Panamanian company and a U.S.-based company. That was your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain.
In a push to promote Bahamian art and culture, the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas continues to host a series of events.
A 3-hour workshop is planned for this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., teaching people how to stretch their own canvases, an important skill for painters.
Now, Director of the National Art Gallery, Amanda Coulson, stressed the importance of local participation in these initiatives.
Always imagine that being creative means you're being an artist, but it doesn't mean that. You use your creative brain in anything you do, and it's very important to keep that side of your brain engaged and active. And that is how we have creative thinking. That's how we have engaged members of society. So I encourage people, if not to come to the NAGB, to go listen to some music, to wear Bahamian jewelry, to support the people that are making our culture real and living every day.
Access to farmland and the development of a subdivision are just a few of the benefits South Androsians can expect from roadworks expected to begin shortly in Duncan Corpus. Speaking on behalf of Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable V. Alfred Gray, Area Member of Parliament His Excellency Picewell Forbes outlined the plans while opening the South Andros Farmers Association Agri-Business Expo.
As you look forward to the completion of the road at Duncan Corpus, with proper delineation and access to land on other side of the island here in Andros, I make a commitment, therefore, in not too distant future, that we will see fruition in collaboration with the Ministry of Works, with the road works being completed at Duncan Corpus. We owe it to ourselves and to future generations to feed and prepare, to feed and procure food for nations and generations, yet unborn.